Welcome everyone to the annual awards presentation. As Kate said, this is a little different this year. We normally do this as part of a luncheon, but because of our COVID protocols, we were forced to change it up a bit. We appreciate everyone who is here in person, as well as all those who are joining us online virtually. We have just a few awards. This won't take very long. We're going to celebrate the Hoosier Freedom Award, which is being given to Lee Christie, and we'll introduce Amy Davis as the Trial Lawyer of the Year. But before we get into that, let me make a special thanks to Todd Morrow and Sterling Morrow from Morrow Settlement Services for sponsoring this award presentation and for being a co-sponsor of the seminar. We appreciate Todd and Sterling's support of ITLA. This isn't their first time at the rodeo. They are stalwart supporters of our organization. And along with Todd, is Todd here? Is Todd in the room? Nope. All right, well, Todd, I was going to invite you to come up and say a few words, but I can tell you what he would say. He would say he really appreciates working with Indiana Trial Lawyers Association. He appreciates the support that we give to his business. As you know, any of you have used Todd and Sterling's work. It's very helpful to our clients. So thank you, Todd and Sterling, and for all of your work in support of ITLA. And then another word of thanks to Kate. Where's Kate? She's still there? She's still here. Okay. Kate, thank you so much for putting together this wonderful program. I wasn't sure what I was getting into in May when they passed the gavel to me and said, now who do you want to chair the annual institute? And I said, I think Kate Franke. And you were kind enough to say yes. You probably didn't know what you were getting into either, but you put together a wonderful program. So if you agree with me, could we have a round of applause for Kate? All right, thank you, Kate. All right, let's talk about the Hoosier Freedom Award. Well, before we get to the Hoosier Freedom Award, I guess I'm supposed to award the Past President's Award to Fred Schultz. Is Fred in the room? Come on up. So, for those of you maybe not familiar with the governance of our organization, we have our board of directors, and then we have our executive committee. And to get to be past president usually takes about 12 or 13 years. It's a very long haul on the executive committee, and Fred just passed the gavel to me back in May, and so at this conference we recognize him with the Past President's Award, which I think is up here somewhere, Fred?
This one's got my name on it.
I'm gonna guess that's your award then, Fred.
I'll pass it to you.
Thank you, and I'm going to give it back to you in a minute. So this award recognizes Fred's service on the executive committee, and specifically having served as president this past year, 2020 to 2021, and it's for his, as I said, his service to the organization. The award reads, presented to Frederick W. Schultz, President, 2020-2021, for distinguished service to the Indiana Trial Lawyers Association and to the legal profession on this date. And again, for those of you who may not know, this is a very long commitment to the ITLA when you go on the executive board to make it to this point now as a past president. So Fred, for not just your year as president, but for all those years that you served on the executive committee, and importantly, provided a good role model to me to fill your shoes in this role, I thank you, and more importantly, ITLA thanks you. We're going to take pictures after this.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks, Fred. Thank you.
Oh. We're going to try to save a little time for everyone by we're going to take our formal pictures afterwards, so we can get you out of here for lunch. Then the Hoosier Freedom Award. This award is given to someone who, in their distinguished service to the citizens of Indiana and to the United States, are engaged in activities and support of people and organizations that preserves the rights and freedoms of all Americans. That's the purpose of the Hoosier Freedom Award. And as I mentioned earlier, Lee Christie was nominated for this award and is receiving the award. Sarah Graziano nominated Lee for this. Is Sarah here by chance? No? Okay. I just was going to recognize you if you were, Sarah. Thank you for the nomination. Very thoughtful because of Lee's work. If any of you know Lee Christie, you know that he has just about got his hands in everything. And in this particular nomination, Sarah noted that Lee served on the task force committee during COVID for the courts to reopen and how they were going to do that with jury trials, which was pretty important work considering that this is the first time this sort of thing has happened in 100 years. None of us were around during the Spanish flu. And then Sarah also noted that Lee is very involved in the Legal Aid Society here in Marion County. And I will tell you that I started giving to legal aid because Lee Christie called me and said, will you give money? So when Lee Christie calls, you say yes, because you know that not only is he passionate about it, but he also walks the walk and contributes as well to making our community and our state a better place. So Sarah, thank you for that award. Lee, if you would come up, I've got the award, the official award for you, and we're going to take formal pictures afterwards. All right, Lee, this is, I don't want to break this. No, we can get a new one. All right, so this is the fancy award here. And basically it says, the Indian Trial Lawyers Association Hoosier Freedom presented to Lee C. Christie for distinguished service to the citizens of Indiana and the United States for dedication to the preservation of rights and freedoms of all Americans, November 15th, 2021. Lee, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Dan.
I'm going to have you say some words.
Oh, okay.
Tell us a little bit about the jury trial thing, the task force.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. I don't know that I deserve this award, but I am honored. When I looked at the past recipients, I'm certainly honored to be considered amongst that group. You know, we fight every day to help people in their struggles who are in accidents and need our help. And that's our job, our profession, and what we do. It's a business. But we're so fortunate to be able to make a good living doing that and to be able to use that platform to help people. There's so many disadvantaged people around us in our communities, and we're one of the fortunate ones. So we should use our platform and our position to do good things and to go out there in the community and help these people. So do it, make that commitment. Every day, make that commitment to help your clients and help other people that need your assistance. The COVID task force, Fred Schultz and I and a few others got together because Fred was freaking out about the fact that there weren't going to be jury trials. And how were we going to be able to help these people that need our help every day? So we put together a task force on how the courts could deal with the pandemic. As Dan said, nobody had ever dealt with it. They had not dealt with it. And so we got a group of people together and looked at other states and how they were doing it, and very quickly put together a resource guide for all the courts to examine, to use as their guide of what to do with jury trials during the pandemic. And I think all the courts got it. It went through the Supreme Court. They did appreciate it. I don't know to what extent the courts utilized it, but it had, and maybe you guys saw it, I think it was sent out, but it did have different sections or different areas that could help the courts navigate this process that they were going through. And I think that the fact that some of the courts were willing to still try cases allowed cases to continue. I know in everybody's practice, those cases that could settle basically continued to settle. And the cases that couldn't settle, we're going to find out in a few in 21, but 22, 23, we're going to find out about those. But thank you all for this award. I appreciate it, and thank you for everything you do for the community and our society.
All right, next up. I'll tell you what, we have the absolute best staff in the Indiana Trial Lawyers Association. They put together this nice book and tell me exactly what to do and say, and then tell me don't mess it up, although I think they use a little different language. The next award goes to Jill Glavin. Actually, Fred Schultz. Come here a minute. Yeah. I'm going to tell you, Jill Glavin is the recipient this year of the Journalist of the Year Award, and this is one of those awards that I think is so important to recognize people in our community who help us deliver the message that we fight for day in and day out, whether it's in the courtroom or at the legislature or at the Court of Appeals with our amicus committee. We're constantly battling public policy that would be set against us and our clients' interest, and quite frankly, the interest of every Hoosier. Just because you're not injured doesn't mean that you don't benefit from our work preserving your rights. So this is a really important award to me, I think, because of that. And I want Fred, if he would, to give us just a few words. Maybe you could read your nomination of Jill and why you thought this was important, and we're going to recognize Jill here in just a second.
So Jill Glavin is a reporter, many of you know, with Fox 59 and CBS 4 here in Indianapolis. And last year was an incredibly challenging year on all fronts. And for ITLA and for our clients in particular, it was extraordinarily challenging at the legislature. And as your past president, I will tell you that what the Hospital Association wanted was 5 years of complete immunity for any act of malpractice, not just regarding COVID-19. And they would have gotten it, but for ITLA, for this organization, your efforts, and the efforts of our staff. And so Jill was a reporter who was willing to ask hard questions. And just like trial lawyers in a courtroom, good journalists seek the truth, and they help uncover the truth. And Jill did several interviews on the COVID immunity bills, and then once the final passage came to be, its impact, that immunity impact on Hoosiers and on our healthcare system and on the rights of the citizens of the state of Indiana. And so because she was willing to step up and ask the hard questions, I nominated her, and I'm very, very honored and pleased that she is receiving this award.
All right, thank you, Fred. Jill, come on up, please. You're the next contestant. So, yeah, let me read what it says, okay. I guess. So this award, this is pretty neat. It'll make a nice paperweight, I guess. Indiana Trial Lawyers Association Journalist of the Year presented to Jill Glavin in recognition of your distinguished contributions in consumer reporting for the citizens of Indiana and the United States, November 15th, 2021.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you stick around for a few minutes? 15 minutes maybe at most? Okay, thank you. All right, great. Thanks, Fred. All right, and now the award that Amy Davis has been waiting for since those ballots came in around the end of August. Our final award today is recognizing our 2021 Trial Lawyer of the Year, Amy Davis. Franke nominated Amy for this award, and I would at this time like to ask Betsy if you would come up and make a few comments and introduce Amy to us for this award.
I am so proud to have been asked to introduce my warrior sister, Amy Davis, for Trial Lawyer of the Year You can read Amy's bio in the book. I'm going to talk to you about Amy's heart. When I first met Amy, or the first time I guess I remember really meeting Amy, is we were on the north side of Indianapolis. It was a trial group. It was totally volunteer, and we had brought in a Trial Lawyers College psychodramatist to do some work with the group. And Amy showed up. And ever since then, that's probably been 10 years, ever since then, Amy's been showing up. What Ed said earlier when he was talking, he says, this is a vocation. This isn't just a job. This is a career. You got to be great. And since the first time I met Amy, she wanted to be great, and she was willing to put in the work and the time and the effort to be great. For 10 years, Amy has showed up at our trial group. Not only have we worked on her cases, but she's worked on others in this room. She went to the 3-week college, the Jerry Spence College, to make herself great and to be better. I've discovered in the last 10 years that Amy genuinely connects with people. Robin, I saw you said that too. You connect. You're genuine. You have curiosity about people. And through the years, I've learned that Mark has supported you. You've become mom to these 2 beautiful, beautiful children. Hi, Nora. Hi, Maggie. And I got to know Robin. And I also was with you through a terrible personal loss. And when I texted Amy to congratulate her, that was the thing she texted back. I wish my dad were here. He is here. And that sort of brings me to the case that resulted in this nomination. A fabulous result, $3.1 million at the end of the day. But what I want to talk to you about is Amy was all in. She loved her clients, she loves her clients, and she fought for Roger and Michelle. And she brought it all to the table. Kate said it in the nomination. That's a lot of grit and a lot of resilience, and it's amazing what you accomplished. And I am so proud to introduce our trial lawyer of the year, Amy Davis.
Thank you, Betsy. That was wonderful. And so for those of you who may not be aware of this particular case that resulted in Kate's nomination, let me just share some information from Kate's nomination with you. As Betsy noted, Amy tried this case that resulted in a $3.1 million verdict. What Betsy didn't tell you was that that was in Knox County, Indiana. And if any of you are familiar with Knox County, Indiana, you'll know it's not particularly a liberal bastion of urban the urban kind. It was a case that she took over, and at the time she took it over, she had just gone out and became a sole practitioner, had no support staff to help her except a part-time law student, and she basically had to do this on her own, except I think Amy will tell you she had a whole lot of help from her warrior sisters and brothers, and I'll leave that up to her. But it was a trucking case, a very complex case that involved a traumatic brain injury. And Kate goes on to say that what Kate observed in Amy handling the case through the trial, preparation and trial, was that Amy was fearless in her work and fearless in her willingness to ask for help. And I'll let Amy talk about the help that she got, because I know that was something that was very important to her. And in any event, I now want to hear from Amy, because she's the one who we're recognizing today. And Amy, this is a big one. Wow, look at this. It says the Indiana Trial Lawyers Association Trial Lawyer of the Year presented to Amy M. Davis for distinguished service to the citizens of Indiana and the United States as a leading member of the Indiana Trial Bar and dedication to the preservation of the rights of the injured under the laws of the state of Indiana and the United States of America, November 15th, 2021. Join me in congratulating Amy on this award.
I didn't think I'd be crying before we got started. I'm hungry too, so I'll be brief, but there are people I do need to thank. And first of all, I want to thank Roger and Michelle. They're here today because they wanted to support me, and they're happy for me that this happened for me. And they're my family now. And I want to thank you for trusting me to pursue your case, to tell your story. It has been the honor of my life. I started my law firm on March 2nd of 2020 and had just a few clients with me, including Roger and Michelle, and it was scary. I didn't know that 11 days later things would change forever, and that I wouldn't be able to get out and to network with people and get new clients, and it was really, really scary. But we had this case that was we knew it had to be tried. It was not going to end without a fight. And so we did it. We went to trial in Knox County. I even fought, the other side wanted to continue the case, and I fought to make sure we kept our trial date. It had been, by the time the verdict came down, it was 6 years and 3 months to the day from the date of the crash. I have tried one trucking case in my career, and I've had 3. And so I had a lot to learn, and I tried to reach out to as many people as I could, take what was going to help me from those people, and make myself the best lawyer that I could be for you, for Roger and Michelle, because that's what they deserved. My family is all here today. They made a lot of sacrifices during this time when I was trying this case. My daughters, Eleanor, Nora, and Maggie are here. Can you guys wave? Thank you, my babies, for being understanding when Mommy said she had to work. I know it was really hard sometimes, but I'm really, really appreciative that you stayed patient and played with each other. My husband, who kind of makes everything work for us, is here. He took over bedtime stories. I still got to do songs during trial, but he made sure that he called me at the same time every night so I could sing my girls to sleep. Nothing works without you. My mom and my brothers are here. They've always been a huge support to me. I think my mom has proofread every single legal document I've ever written. My mom didn't get a chance to go to college, but she is the smartest woman I know, and she is a wonderful, wonderful cheerleader. Now for my lawyer friends. Kate Franke, you got me through this entire trial. You were there every time I needed you. You always picked up the phone. And I can say with certainty that I have found my trial partner for the rest of my career, if you will do it. I had a friend who called me must have been the Saturday, maybe the Friday before we went to trial. She had just been to this illegal conference called Embrace Your Inner Badass. It's an all-women's event that the Nevada Justice Association puts on. And she said, do you have coverage for your entire trial? Do you have somebody that's going to be with you every day? And I said, well, most days. I don't have anyone that's going to sit next to me during the closing, and then I don't have a lawyer with me, but I have a trial consultant with me on the first day. And she said, that's not going to happen. So she bought a plane ticket from Los Angeles to Evansville that night and got into town the night before we started trial and was with me all week. This is somebody that works for Nick Rowley's office, who I had met at that event that she had attended the previous year. So I had just these amazing mentors, women, men, friends who were willing to just be there to help me, to carry my books, to help me with instructions. It was the most remarkable thing I've ever experienced. And I have known in the past that this group of people will be there for you when you need them, but I didn't know they'd be there at trial when I need them. In person, I should say. Betsy Green, I mean, what can I say? You're the ultimate for me. You helped me become the lawyer I am today, and you continue to help me learn and improve. Amy Pardick, who's my trial consultant, I don't believe she's here, but she, I sometimes can get a little off course, and she was the ultimate, she steadied me, she got me focused on what I needed to be focused on. If you ever have the opportunity to work with her, I would recommend it. Katie Marshall, who's out here in the crowd, she helped me do one of my focus groups. She's another one that will always be there when I need her to answer a question, and same. Duran Keller is a good friend too. I was freaking out the night before trial. Sorry, I'm telling you now. It went well, so I can tell you I was freaking out the night before trial. And I had a friend, a very close friend, who called me and just did an impromptu closing just to make sure I got nerves out. Brent Gill, I don't know if you're here today or not, but Brent showed up for me in more ways than I can even explain. He was at every prep group, he even played the defense attorney at one of our focus groups. Roger liked him so much, I thought he was going to fire me and hire Brent. So. Dan Buba was helping me with motions in limine the day they were due. Kathy Farinas and Tess White got me a bunch of law all together when I was trying to keep my trial date and fight a motion to continue, which almost, how often does it happen that somebody asks for a motion to continue and you can stop that from happening? First time for me. Alex Lamontes, my whole trial skills group. If you're in my trial skills group, would you stand up? So these are my people, and I have never in my career done anything without them hearing it first. We all practice together. We all practice on all of our cases together. Thank you all so much. I don't know what I would do without you. Some of those, I'm going to say some of their names because I haven't yet. Jamison Allen, Kelly Johnson, Debbie Nelson came to one of our group days with Roger and Michelle. She came from out of state to do that. Fred Schultz, Katie Karras, Brandon Hall, Kyle Ring, Ashley Dayhuff, Dorothy Clay Sims. Image Resources did videotape my DME, and also somebody you want to work with if you can. But we had that video available, and Dorothy Clay Sims, who is awesome if you want help with defeating a defense expert, looked at everything, and she just sent text messages with this is what you want to ask and this is what you want to do. I had no idea what I was saying or the questions I was asking, but the doctor did, and you could tell because he was shaking by the end of our cross-examination. So I'm so grateful to her too. To Mark Scott, I am so grateful for my experience with you because I became such a more complete lawyer because of my time with you. I'm so thankful. George Gray, I don't see you, but I think I know, there he is. You came into my life at the exact time that I needed you, and you have been the most amazing cheerleader for me, and George actually came to the trial and watched me close, and was just on a day where I was kind of like not myself, helped me get it together, along with my mom. Mike Phelps spent hours with me on his birthday, Zooming, going over this case. And then my out-of-state friends, Courtney Rowley and Teresa Hatch, they are part of Trial by Women. That's how I've met a ton of my out-of-state women colleagues around the country. Those women are those two, Maribel Wassmiller and her husband Larry also did a Zoom with me, Shayla Reed and Denise Pereira. Monica Gilmore, I'm not sure if you're here right now, but Monica gave me the scoop on Knox County. She practices there. And then Joe Freed and Michael Laserman had taken calls like at the most odd hours for me, just to, one, help me with trial themes, make sure things were going on track, and also Joe called me the morning that I was having my little freak out to tell me that I had it and that I was the best person for Roger and Michelle, because I just was, and that I could do it. And I'm just so thankful to ITLA staff, the entire board. I'm so appreciative. This is all still so surreal. And again, just thank you, Roger and Michelle, for trusting me to do this. I still sometimes can't believe that you let me turn down a $1.25 million offer on our last day of trial, but I'm glad you did. Thank you all so much.
Wow. Amy, that was just an incredible experience you had. And from my perspective, I just feel really so great, happy for you, because I can remember 10, 12 years ago talking with you about your career and where it might lead you someday. And here we are. So congratulations.